Mystery surrounded Mugzie from the day she arrived on the Upper West Side, tumbling out of a van dispatched by a sweet woman at a Brooklyn kill shelter after my friend Sheila and I got hopelessly lost trying to pick her up on an evening so stormy. I wrote a poem about it. It went like this. Stormy was our way, no beacon lit the LIE, where mysteriously we ended our journey at JFK. As some of you will know, JFK is not in Brooklyn. Nothing was known about Mugzie except that a young guy had dropped her off at the shelter saying his grandmother had died and no one wanted her. By contrast, the life of Muggzie's predecessor, the sainted Sugar, was well documented since she had worked as a sniffer in the Beagle Brigade of the Department of Agriculture at Kennedy Airport. She even had a little coat. Sugar's job was to separate illicitly imported meat products from tourists who feared this country might not provide the perfect pepperoni. Sniffer dogs are trained to sit down in front of a suspicious suitcase. The handler rewards them with a treat. After a sterling start, Sugar began sitting down in front of every suitcase. Rendered useless by her greed, her employment came to an end, but the world became her oyster. We traveled widely, and she became known for her nocturnal escapades. In Santa Fe, her heedless destructiveness wreaked on interfering curtains and windows in San Francisco and General Guile, stealing anything off the plates of divas as they sat on various couches and reminisced about the past, as divas tend to do, oblivious to her lack of interest in anything not food-related. Muggzie's prospects had seemed quite poor. The unbelievably sad picture of her on petfinder.com showed a swayback dog seductively described as senior and obese. Believed to be 10, she remained about that age, looking younger as her health improved. She immediately took to the Sugar memorial bed by the fireplace. Inspired by her soulful, searching eyes, we made up biographies for Mugzie. That name and those huge front paws with crooked nails suggested a home without much of a lawn, maybe a concrete patio in the back. I couldn't help noticing that she always did her business on the flagstone at my house in the country, never mind the acres of greenery available. Unlike my other beagles, Mugzie loved fruits, vegetables, fish, even caviar on very special occasions. Perhaps an ancient Russian princess living in a draped apartment in Brighton Beach or local Odessa not far from the shelter had fed her scraps like scrumptious beets until the old lady joined the Romanovs. Mugzie was not a cuddler. Mugzie hated being picked up. Approach her, and she would instantly roll on her back and show her belly while producing anguished shrieks. Maybe a defense mechanism, we thought, from Sunday afternoon when the Ruski princess's grandchildren came to visit. Mugzie was friendly without being effusive and would trot over to favorite visitors like Miss Reller, provider of specially concocted frozen cupcakes. Had she ever had pups? The only maternal instincts she revealed were for Minnie, another rescued beagle, who was possibly her age and got her face licked every morning. When Hamlet the micro-pig arrived, Mugzie allowed her to share her bed, but looked the other way, as dogs do to make annoying creatures disappear, out of sight, out of mind, and hopefully dead soon. In 2008, we were both diagnosed with cancer. Her surgery cost more and wasn't covered. I laughed about that, but worried her days were numbered. Instead, we shared 3 more happy years. Mugzie was lying on her favorite suede bed as we chewed our last salami sandwich. We were listening to Schubert's Winterreise when she died. It seemed appropriate. Those songs are about journeys through Germany in the early 19th century, and in a larger sense, through a wintry world in which the narrator finds no shelter at sundown. There are 24 songs, starting with Gute Nacht, good night, and its hypnotic opening lines. I was a stranger when I arrived, and a stranger when I left. So sings the narrator as he quietly closes the door on a doomed love affair and leaves with the moonlight as his companion. Winterreise has several references to dogs who growl at the wanderer, the lonely outsider. My Mugzie never growled at anybody. There was always the possibility of a treat. Thank you.